everybody, and welcome
Damn,
back to the Anime Club.
This is your fault. You open every fucking episode, and I want to do it one time with something thematically related, and now Vorn's doing it. Are you happy?
Well,
we get what we deserve here.
time.
I did not deserve this. You might have.
Vorn, do you feel underappreciated here at any time?
Always, my dear man, always.
We make it a point to undervalue our employees and friends so that they don't ask for more.
No, fair enough.
As evidenced by the fact every time that I'm missing an upload, I get a text, hey, was there something supposed to go up? And then the panic sets in.
And you just reply back, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, are you editing this video?
No, then I just reply back, yes.
Yes, editing now as you open the computer.
Yeah, genuinely sometimes.
Hey, he has to learn at least to actually push you to mental anguish the Asian way.
What?
What?
I'm trying to remember freaking the joke that freaking Stephen He did. I don't remember. Okay.
Emotional damage?
Yes, there we go.
Failure. Yeah, you got it.
I just got it.
You got it. Emotional damage. So we're back on Boku no Hero, My Hero Academia.
It's failure management. That was the joke. God damn it.
Oh yeah. I work in failure management.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not Nick Deck's job, I don't know what is. Both IRL and dealing with me in the channel.
I think I'd be fired if I said that officially.
Well, luckily this ain't officially.
But to be fair, Seki, I'm pretty sure he's managing both of us now.
That's true, and only one of us has an A average.
Hey, I got A's and B's now. How dare you?
I may throw stones.
At least I am not panicking to my teacher about grading.
You know, every time I think about my grades, I always think about the great Calvin and Hobbes joke where Calvin is trying to boast to his classmates, like, hey, you know how Einstein got bad grades in school? Well, mine are even worse, baby.
I am not panicking to my professor. I am expressing interest in the speed at which he is grading our final papers.
I saw that email you sent him.
And I am expressing interest in the speed at which you're editing our final videos.
Fair.
Thank you.
Bye.
If anybody is still listening to this or watching this on YouTube, congrats.
So,
Because we are, almost
3 minutes.
3 minutes in, we haven't even
That
said
is-
what we're talking about.
that is by far not the worst railroading we've had.
Oh yeah, I've been on this before. I've seen how far this railroad's out.
Exactly. You know, we're at some point we'll get to the conundrum and then we'll have to decide. So on the topic of Boku no Hero,
So eat my hair, young man.
that's disgusting.
Hey, there are worse ways to get DNA into your body, alright?
He is right.
I refuse to think about this.
I'm not.
That is a smart thing to do.
I'm not sure that I agree. On the basis that hair does not break down in the human body when most other things would.
Yes, hair is indigestible, I'm aware of that. But still, can you consider the other options that there probably were?
Have you...
Spit in a cup.
I was gonna ask a hypothetical question, but I realized that probably wasn't one that should be asked in a recorded format.
Plus, you probably don't want the answer.
You know what? I don't think the answer would be that weird. It's the question itself that's strange.
Great.
But, hey, so y'all remember when I took notes on Fate so that Nick Knack could read them out on podcast and be like, what the fuck, Seki? So I sent Backage updates as I was watching this anime.
I'll pull them up.
I have them up too.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me find them.
Come on.
Yeah, okay, so I was in the theater with my friend watching a movie, and my
I'm so sorry.
Every 5 minutes, my phone would vibrate, and it got to the point where I'd feel my phone vibrate, and I go,
I'm so sorry.
because I can't say anything.
I
but
didn't realize.
No, my phone was on silent.
Oh, okay.
My phone was on
thank
silent,
God.
so okay.
You could have told me to
Okay,
shut
let's
up.
see.
They started at.
Okay. Small Mike got me fucked up now that I know he's supposed to be tall even when skinny. That's some bullshit. I always forget Izuku is fucking jacked! Like WTF. Man, Izuku cringe at AF. Oh, seeing this boy's bones just twist like a slinky does not make my stomach happy. You say it's me when she's kind of plain looking?
When she's, cause she says,
Yeah.
"Oh, look, it's that plain-looking boy," and he goes, "Oh, it's me." The fuck would you cop to that?
I love how
dipshit?
I love how fucking awkward he is around girls because it's like, oh my god, I talked to a girl, and there's just this big bold lettering like didn't actually say anything.
Yeah, right.
Fucking awkward dork, love him. I heard about the fingertip thing in fanfics. That's my favorite one. Just out of no context. Just I'd heard about the fingertip thing in fanfics.
I would like to clarify that is not the full contents of that particular message. That is just the first
Okay,
line.
fine. I'll continue. But really, like narratively, that he didn't just earn.
No, because this is an important narrative moment that actually has to do with his power leveling.
That has to do with the fingertips.
It has to do with his power leveling too. If you go
Knick-Knack
on.
left, by the way.
Well, Knick-Knack can fuck off. He's a pussy.
No, this is just you fangirling.
I said I'd heard about the fingertip thing in fanfics, but I really like narratively that he didn't just learn control because Eraserhead told him to, but instead he chose to do like the kind of the smartest option at the time, which was, you know, the least damage possible to himself.
Also,
Shota.
Yeah, Shota, which is Aizawa, is an absolute smash, doubled when he's all tired and caterpillared up. The very addition of this man got 10 times more attractive when his life fell apart.
You really want a broken man, don't you, as your husband?
Look. If he's more broken than me, then I don't have to be the self-conscious one.
You sure?
I'm gonna start calling younger people Zygot.
Zygote.
Zygote.
I wasn't drunk enough for this.
So I don't... Oh, man. Why'd you pick that mug?
Because it was clean.
Oh, that's my mom's mug for coffee. Okay, the reason why I said the Zygote one is because I don't know if this happens in the dub, but there's a point in the sub where he literally calls them young zygotes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I'm gonna start calling younger people now.
Yeah, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, Bakugo is also jacked. Why are all these kids jacked as fuck? One needs anger management, one needs anxiety meds, and a big bag of weed. Actually, they could both do with a big bag of weed. That's Tadeku and fucking Bakugo. Bakugo is the kind of mentally unstable that I don't know if I want to say I can fix him or stop touching him, I want to study him, because he's certainly not the type that I could make him worse.
Do you really want to give weed to Bakugo? He's already that mentally unstable.
I don't know. Also, Bakugo's way better at physics than me, and that's very unfair.
You see, that's actually one of the interesting things is that I saw in an interview with the manga author that he said he regrets making Bakugo as shitty as he was in the beginning of the series. Because the whole thing with Bakugo's character is that he learns a bit more humility and he actually becomes a better person. He still stays an asshole, but he's a better person as the series goes on. But then he's like looking and like, oh yeah, this guy told a kid to go jump off a fucking roof. The first scene he's in.
Yeah, take a swan dive off the roof and hope you're reborn with a better quirk.
Yeah, he just desperately regrets, like absolutely regrets making Bakugo that bad that early on.
Playing devil's advocate here a little bit, wasn't he also sort of intended to be a subversion of, and I'm not going to say the character to avoid spoilers here, a subversion of another popular shonen character trope?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that is one of the main reasons he's around, is to kind of subvert that trope.
Yeah, but the
Which
author did go really far into making this kid the amount of asshole that Bakugo is like the amount of asshole that I would just be like, so this is like verbal assault and harassment. What?
Oh, yeah.
Door's open.
Shut the door. It was open before.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
it poked open more. I watched it.
It's fine.
Cat ear popped
Yeah, I
in.
thought a cat was popping in.
Oh,
It
Yeah.
was.
a cat
Probably
probably was. They like it in here. It's their room.
Loki likes you.
Loki likes everyone. Peaches likes everyone. It's the other three you gotta worry about.
True.
There's a lot of cats around here.
Trixie's kind of like
Boku.
Bakugo. She's really loud, and if you try to pick her up or touch her, she scratches you. Unless you're doing it in the way that she wants you to.
Yeah, I was gonna say she let me like pet her for like 10 straight minutes last time.
Yeah. But then, like, sometimes she'll walk up and be like, oh, you've tried to pet me? I'm going to bite you.
I'm special. I'm special. I'm the main character.
That is kind of one thing I do like, where they kind of elaborate. It's like, oh, so Bakugo, a lot of Bakugo's personality comes from people just heaping praises on him constantly, and him just getting like so pig-headed he can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of fair. Like, if you, from, like some of your earliest memories have just been told that, like, you are the best and better than everyone, and, like, it's adults reinforcing that to you time and time again, and then society, once you're old enough to realize that society, too, values things like powerful quirks that are useful. I mean, it's kind of not entirely his fault he's fucked up. I mean, he has a part in this, but... It's not.
You can see where that personality would develop with the situation he's constantly in, which adds a lot to that whole scene where he sees everyone else using their powers, and he's just immediately like, I'm actually really fucking weak compared to like 90% of these people, because they have more versatility, they're more powerful, things like that, and he's literally a fish in a giant pond when he thought that he was the shark in the fish tank.
But I do also appreciate that throughout the first season, we get glimpses when he's using his powers. Sometimes, when he's using his quirks, sometimes other characters will comment on, like, the sheer intelligence and, like, spot planning required to do some of the things he does. And, like, you can infer through that, like, Bakugo is not stupid. He is not necessarily resting on his laurels. Like, he has had to learn about the chemical nature of his quirk and inertia and physics and all this sort of stuff to be able to do what he does.
He designed his suit.
Yeah.
Like, specifically with the thought, like he understood his quirk, what it does to his body, and what he can do with it. Like, for all intents and purposes, he has somewhat a better grasp on his quirk than most of the kids in his class.
Yeah, one of the things that they don't, I'm not sure if they bring this up in the second season, but in the first season they don't actually mention it, but the most important thing that you can do when fighting someone else with another power is analyzing their power, because every power has repercussions to it.
They're kind of hinting at it in season 1, but they never actually mention it.
Yeah, particularly I think it was like in between the big battle.
It's-
A lot of the villains hint at it.
Nah. The biggest hint towards it is when Deku and Bakugo are fighting in the simulator.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about how, like, he's not using his quirk, but he's, like, managing to keep up with Bakugo because he knows what's happening. Like, he can predict his moves.
Yeah, and that comes from the whole personality thing with Midoriya is a fanboy through and through, and he loves studying people's powers and just he's got, like, what is it, 13 notebooks full of just notes about other superheroes and their powers and things like that. And
Like,
Yeah,
we
they
actually
move-
hear him doing it to Mountain Lady in episode 1.
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah. Mountain Lady, not
Mount
Mountain.
Lady. Yeah, Mount Lady. Yeah,
I love Mount
Oh.
Lady.
it's they touch more on this as the series goes forward, but the society they live in is really fucking trippy and weird with the way that it presents itself, because the hero industry is really cutthroat, because you have to really make a name for yourself, because everyone is trying to make a name for themselves.
You know, I saw
And
someone...
also
It's
in
kind of a
season
privatized policing
during
series.
the sports festival arc, which is in the next season, which I won't go super far into, but there's one character you meet where they straight up say, like, his power is mind control. He can mind control people, and he didn't make the cut to be in the hero program because he's not marketable. There's no way to market his superpower to the masses and make him like a commodity.
It's not just that. That's not what they said. They said that his power isn't useful for big, flashy fights.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
he's not marketable.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes them marketable, is how flashy they can be. That's why they
Yeah.
have special moves. They have unique They have unique costumes, things like that.
I heard someone make an argument online that while and I don't know if this has like been mentioned in the manga or if this is just a fan theory, but someone commented that in terms of like the lore and world building, part of that might be the fault of All Might. Like the commodification of like superheroes as this like big flashy special moves and that sort of thing.
We kind of get that because Aizawa, who's an underground hero, looks at All Might and is like,
Yeah,
which is like
because
like,
you have to assume that the first people with quirks did not, like the first generation or so when quirks were still rare, did not have this whole commodified superhero.
It kind of it's actually it was actually kind of they hint at it. It was more like this is just kind of how things are right now because there's a surplus of heroes, but back in the old days when before All Might was around, it was still like that, but not to the extreme, I don't think.
Yeah, but you have to think a couple generations of kids grew up watching All Might.
Yeah.
And the way that he's marketed and loud and always present and successful makes you go, I want to be like him. I mean, get chicken and the egg.
Yeah, it is one of those things. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I mean, I think it's kind of fascinating things like that because, like I said, like mind control. You could just it's fucking mind control. You could just, like how many problems you could solve with like,
negotiation.
Yeah.
exactly things like that.
Especially
but
because
he didn't make the cut specifically because he's not flashy or anything like that because they can't market something.
Well, and
that doesn't stand out.
Especially because without naming names, like his specific quirk, it's not just mind control, but it's the only thing someone has to do to activate it is respond.
Yeah, I guess it's more like hypnotic suggestion than actual like full-blown mind control.
Yeah,
but
I think it's officially called like mind control or something, but it's the fact that it's so easy to trigger that would make it really useful for an underground hero.
Yeah, well, the thing is...
But not for big flashy.
A lot of... The first season of the show was really fun, but the second season is where it starts getting really interesting, where you find out that things like selective breeding is outlawed by the government.
And we can't talk about that right now.
Yeah, because there's one specific character...
Save it for free talk, because we can talk about shit like that during free talk. Because we'll put a warning.
Okay, well then I'll throw this out there, that one of my favorite things is I grew up on comic books. I grew up on Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men, things like that. So hearing them making references to the fact that when All Might bursts into the classroom like a fucking lunatic, and someone says, "Oh, that's from his Silver Age days."
Yeah,
that is a straight fucking Western. There's so many
Age.
Western comic book references in this show, and I kind of love that.
I think it's also how he's drawn though too, because if you look at his character designs and a couple scenes, like they make really bold outlining.
Oh yeah.
When he's in his large state, and then when he shrinks down, even then it's just a like.
Yeah, but that's not exactly what we're talking about, because we're talking about, they specifically say that like certain costumes, right? Like the costumes he wears are from Gold Age or Silver Age, and it's referring to the era and style of the costume, not the way that he's drawn.
But
because
even,
in all of his costumes, he's drawn with bold lines.
But even then, you can look
Might.
at some of the old Silver Age comics where some artists did, like CC's does have a point because. Yeah, like there are some Silver Age Superman comics that just he looks like All Might, same art style kind of thing, just like heavy like black lines and shadowing.
I think that's just because All Might looks like old comics.
Well, that's kind of what they were going for, is that he's like an old school superhero kind of look to him and things like that.
Yeah,
and they do that throughout the thing. Like he's not until way later on, but there's a character called Mirio, who straight up looks like a character from like the old like comics from like the 60s, like the 50s and 60s, like the old adventure comics. Specifically Tintin, if you guys remember that.
No.
I've never seen. I've seen.
Tintin's a lot of fun.
I've only ever seen the 3D animated movie.
That is a weird movie.
But yeah, so story-wise, this is interesting because I think one of the reasons why I had been interested in inviting Quinn, and it's kind of moot now, is the quirkism issues in the society that's presented, because Quinn usually digs real deep into like societal issues in whatever they're into.
We don't get a lot of that this season.
No, but it's the thing is, I'm not saying that they go deep into it, but it's there and it's obvious if you know what to look for, right? Like, the fact that calling him quirkless is an insult, and the fact that the teacher isn't stopping them, and the whole class joins in, even if he's a bully and popular, that is societal that is societal acceptance of this sort of bullying against that type of person.
Yeah, there
Like,
is definitely like a sense of classism and things like that.
Yeah, like this. While we're not talking about quirkism specifically, like they're not bringing up this is quirkist. It's there. It's underlying in like every scene where we see like certain characters interacting. Like just the fact that like this is what Bakugo chooses to pick on Izuku for, right? I'm sure he could have come up with something else when he was a kid, but this is what he chooses means that this is a societally acceptable reason to pick on him. You know? And I'm sure we're gonna get more of this as we move forward.
One detail really like about this show is, like you said earlier, is that Midoriya is jacked as hell, but they specifically explain that for like, what was it, like 9 or 10 months, all he did was study, diet, and exercise for 9 months. And it's like, okay, at least they explain why this 15-year-old looks like a goddamn bodybuilder.
Yeah, I will say they do that, and they do say that characters like Kirishima and Bakugo do like a lot of working out, and they do like a lot of dieting to maintain their like physical fitness. And knowing like obviously knowing that these children, right, are planning to become pro heroes and knowing their requirements, it is feasible that they are jacked as fuck at that age.
On the opposite end of that spectrum, I want to bring attention to Midoriya's mother. Because, like, you see her in that flashback scene, and she's kind of slimmed down, but then, like, as soon as that scene's over, you can see she's gained weight. She looks more tired. You can see
Depression
how...
weight.
Yeah, that's actually what they kind of imply, is
yeah.
that she, like, fell into a very deep bout of depression after finding out her son doesn't have a quirk. Speaking of which hold on a second. Speaking of which, really quick, that doctor they talk to, keep that guy in mind, because he might show up later on in the series.
But the fact that she fell into depression reveals to us, once again, something we can infer about society. She knows that this is a bad thing, even without having to be told it explicitly.
Well, because they kind of imply, not so much in the first season, but kind of later on, that even if you don't become a hero, your quirk will kind of define what your possibilities are as far as employment goes later on.
Yeah.
But
that's what I mean. Like, even though like they're not opening up this discussion as something that the characters are talking about themselves in context, in plot, they're not skimping on hiding it in the background and in the scene makeup and in the actual world building, which I appreciate because it gives you a little bit to chew on.
I agree and disagree. Because I think they do hide it in the background, but they hide it very well, except for one person named Bakugo.
Okay.
Bakugo's the only time it's not hidden in the background.
Okay, but Bakugo is a dumbass. Bakugo is fucked up on so many levels. The therapy would not help this kid enough.
we also didn't talk about it that much, but like we do notice that those with better quirks are usually from the richer, more higher class families.
Well, yeah, because Ida, is it Yaoyozoru?
Yaoyozoru, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Momo.
Yeah. And then...
The girl who needs to put on a goddamn shirt.
To be
It's
fair,
like,
she needs access for her quirk.
Yeah, I understand that, but still, it's like, girl, come on.
But
Fan service can only go so far.
But once again, I mean, the requirements of her quirk.
Yeah.
She needs skin access at all times. So...
Also, do you like the detail that she keeps an encyclopedia with her?
Yes, I did, because of the way her quirk works. And that's another thing, is that, like, the insinuations that, like, these kids have not just gone, ooh, I have a cool quirk, I'm gonna be a hero. No. They have had to figure out how to maximize the use of their quirk, because she has to know the chemical concentration and makeup of whatever she's making to be able to make it. Iida has to be able to cope with his own speed, etc.
They do things like that. Like later on, they even talk about how Tsuyu, like she specifically wants to get into like the hero business of like search and rescue that has to do with like oceans, lakes, rivers, things like that, because she's primarily someone who can work well in the water.
Yeah. So I think I like that we're seeing characters who are technically a bunch of teenagers, but they are mature in a lot of ways, and they've had to really focus on certain parts of themselves to excel.
Well,
and I like seeing that.
part of that is also the fact that the school UA is for the elite of the elite. Like, these are going to be like the next top heroes in the entire country.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of where they are.
But even so, I mean, you still have to admit these kids put in a lot of effort.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
that's why those kids have that mentality, because
Yeah.
this is the best school you're ever going to get to go to. This is the best chance you're ever going to have at being a superhero.
This is why we don't see those kids from Bakugo's class again.
No.
Back from Aldera Middle School.
But that also shows up, like, in our society as well. Like, we see these kids who are going to these really high-class schools, and they usually start training to get into these schools at a really, really freaking young age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Art
And
imitates
obviously, people like Momo and Iida would have had family pushing them, funding it, kind of helping them along the way.
A little bit on what Warren is saying, because a lot of the kids are quite young when they're like, even when they first develop their quirk. One thing that stands out to me quite a bit is between the battle of Bakugo and Deku, how he keeps on saying like, he's tricked me. So he's tricked you since he was 4. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the other thing. These kids have to learn young responsibility using these like powers given to them.
Yeah.
That's like a level of
Yeah.
maturity that they are forced to develop young.
Yeah,
like
like 13.
Bakugo sweats nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
Only from his palms, though.
But that means as a 4-year-old, he learned the hard way that if he gets sweaty in his palms, he's gonna fuck people up. And
Yeah.
he needs to control that shit.
And himself.
Which
They're-
is why I
they're-
like 13, because he brings up like your quirk. You've had to. They specifically say you've had to learn yourselves that your quirk quite possibly could kill someone if you make one wrong step.
That was actually something that, so Shigaraki, the villain of the series, his power
Who
is
we
decay.
We meet at the USJ.
Yeah, is decay.
Yeah.
Like, and they explain how his power works, that if he touches something with all 5 of his fingers, it rots and decays away. And I was actually talking to my roommate when I first started reading the series, and I brought this up, and she goes, okay, so how does he not just destroy everything he touches? And I said they kind of imply that he's taught himself how to touch things without using all of his fingers.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Pinky out.
pinky out.
Yeah, which
Thank you, Three Stooges.
is something very hard to do. Like, humans are adapted to use all 5 fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, we adapted 5 fingers and a grasping thumb for a reason. It is literally a key element of our evolution paleontologically.
And they go into that later on in the series as well, where they talk about that there are certain people with quirks that do not fit into society, period.
Or quirks that don't work with their bodies.
Exactly,
Like, their
yeah.
bodies reject them.
Yeah, like that's a huge
Yeah.
fucking spoiler, but that's a whole thing with a character way later on.
Yep.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, there's some great characters in this, and there's some fucking terrible costumes as well as some really good ones.
But they're a bunch of teenagers making costumes, so honestly,
Even the
I kind of
professional
love-
heroes have some fucking horrible costumes.
Actually, sorry.
But a lot of them designed those costumes when they were younger, so I kind of love
Okay,
that
you
they
can
have...
update your costume.
Have you ever looked at the photos that have come out of the Met Gala?
That's true.
Yes.
That's
sorry,
true.
Cece.
Sorry. I literally sorry. There's also
Stop
one.
apologizing!
No, never. My life is an accident.
Oh! Oh, girl!
They actually do specify on their costumes though one specific line that I kind of remember. One student was talking to another and said, "Oh, you know how you could actually improve your costume by if you do this or this." And so I like that they also like give
'cause
themselves like
they
little
can
tips.
workshop. Yeah,
Yes.
they can workshop their costumes, but but their costumes and names are coming from them, and the teachers are really just kind of reining in the worst of it, but letting them kind of learn from their mistakes.
Well, that's actually a big thing with Midoriya throughout the series, is that his costume is constantly changing as the series goes on, because he starts adding things to it and improving it and things like that. Like, at one point, he starts wearing, like, iron shoes.
Yep, for his, okay, we're talking about stuff too far down.
Well, no, that's just, like, when he starts getting better control of his power...
Yes, but we're only talking
That
about season
doesn't
1.
even happen
Free
till,
talk,
like,
free talk.
end of season 2.
That is true,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, free talk.
Yeah.
On Midorai's improvements.
Well, no, just I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that like because of his fucking absurd strength, he keeps like ripping apart his own clothes as we see in
Yeah.
the first season.
Yeah.
So he starts
Yeah.
wearing like specific designed clothing that can handle high impact. So
Yeah.
iron soles on his shoes, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I think that then I don't really have a problem with like pro heroes or any of the kids having like weird costumes because like they're like predominantly they're designing it themselves, and I'm sure there are some checks and balances depending on if they're with an agency or not. But like a lot of this is self-propelled. Like you got to make your own image, come up with your own moves, come up
Yeah.
with your own name, and have it all be marketable. So like honestly, seeing some of them with like the stupid ass costumes is really funny and accurate because like they just assume that's what's gonna be good. Like fucking the laser belly button man.
Oh,
This is the worst costume.
I don't know his actual name, but I know his superhero name.
I'm
is,
gonna
uh,
find it.
His superhero name?
No,
I can just tell you
his
his superhero name because like
No.
I know pretty much I remember all of their superhero names, but that doesn't happen until the second
Yeah.
or third season.
It's
No.
Aoyama.
Aoyama,
It's
yeah.
Aoyama. Also, I see his superhero name because I did get to that episode in season
Yeah.
2.
There is something. During the doctor scene, the doctor said, "Oh yeah, he doesn't have a quirk because of this said birth defect."
The extra.
Yeah.
The extra joint in your toe,
Yeah.
yeah.
So does that mean that everyone else is technically perfect in terms of birth?
Possibly.
I don't know where you're getting that from to begin with. Humanity is a process of evolution. For example, we have been trying to ditch wisdom teeth for the last 5 million years.
No, but here's the thing. If like you,
Okay,
I'm saying that, like,
but being born with a quirk and without a toe joint does not make you
No,
perfect.
No, I think what he means is that it's like one of
you
those
don't
like
have birth
ostracized. It is like
defects.
I think
Yeah.
what he means is that the culture of Japan that
Yeah.
was around for decades still is kind of around that any sign of even a minuscule birth defect
Yeah.
would mean that the child is impure.
Okay, but then at the same time, kids whose quirks don't fit their bodies are also like, what the fuck?
Just,
we
but
see
they
later.
technically would have a quirk though.
Yeah, but I don't think this is connecting the way you think it is.
Okay.
I don't see that.
I mean, I think there might be a case for argument here. I just don't think we have the ability to make
Yeah.
it educational
Yeah.
argument for it.
Wouldn't that be the worst quirk? You just have an extra toe joint.
There are people like that, like the
The 6-armed man.
God, Shoji, I think his
Yeah,
name is.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
he's got like he's got some weird like tentacle arm things.
Yeah.
And then he could also reproduce any part of his body into those arms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly.
It's a weird thing. Like, and also that's another thing that we can talk about story wise is how they talk about how what they grade the actual hero test on, and they say they only tell the students that it's based off the points you get from defeating these things, but also you get points based off rescuing people or teamwork and things like that,
Or
But-
hurting other people.
No, taking
you can get
away.
points taken away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But
the
that's
thing
what
is,
I mean.
though,
There's more
but
ways
they
to
promote discooperation among people.
Yeah.
Well, I think because they want to see what your natural instincts are. Because even if they promote,
But that's incredibly manipulative.
true.
Well, the society is incredibly manipulative.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need money for
Well, that's why I'm saying that like when certain villains show up through the series and they say like this is what's wrong with having superheroes as a main part of our society, and
okay,
a lot of
because we're gonna
No,
watch
no.
season 2 of this.
No, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just
Okay.
saying that when these certain villains bring up these things, say like, "Hey, this is why this stuff doesn't work." Is like they have a solid view on it, and you honestly can look at it and go, you know, you're a bad guy, but I see where you're coming from. A lot of the villains have that throughout the series. Like,
Yeah, but we haven't really met a whole lot of villains with that yet, so we can't really.
that's what I'm saying. Later on in the
Shigaraki
series,
does actually bring up
Kinda.
like.
But we don't know anything. We didn't see that.
No, he just says one thing. He says violence brings more violence.
Well,
Even
yeah,
if it's
but
a
that
good
doesn't.
intent violence.
That's not. That's just a true fact. Like violence always breeds violence. An eye for an eye.
Yeah, but I like the fact that he also stated that as like one of his main points. Like you see, like they kind of build up to this as like,
Yeah, but
his
he doesn't
speech.
really talk about his main points as to like why he dislikes heroes or anything. He doesn't get to that in
Oh,
season
no.
1.
Yeah,
Like
No.
at all.
Yeah, that's definitely a later on.
Yeah.
A lot of the villains' motivations and things
Yeah.
like that come later on.
And I think because all of us have seen past this, we're making the mistake of going. Well,
Yeah.
you haven't, but
Exactly.
you've heard me complain about it. So we're dipping a little bit into stuff that should be talked about when we do season 2, because we're gonna have big conversations about this in season 2.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to do waifu wars?
Well, we still gotta talk about the characters. I think we should go over all of our Class 1A characters.
Oh
Like
my.
each one individually.
I mean,
or
I'm just
like...
gonna mention who they are and what they have.
Yeah.
But like, so we've got so we've got the main cast of characters consists really of the students, the teachers, and then a couple other extras. What?
No, he was humming something, and I was trying to figure out
I
what
started
his plan
humming
was.
to myself the music that plays whenever at the beginning of a new season they go over everyone in the class's name and all their quirks and reintroduce them.
Oh God,
wow.
no! I hated that in season 2.
Oh boy.
But so we've got the teachers like Eraserhead.
Aizawa, yeah.
Yeah, and then or Present Mike.
God
Vlad
damn it!
King.
I love that guy's voice. That is perfect.
Yes, you mentioned.
Yes.
He's amazing.
Yagi, and then the President Nezu.
Which is actually really funny because
Principal.
did they mention that in the first season where
What?
they people like they somebody mentions at one point it's like
No.
wait, is he
Not
a
yet.
human with an
Not
animal
yet.
quirk or
Not
is he an
yet.
animal with a human
Not
quirk?
yet.
And no one knows the answer.
No,
Not yet.
He does make a joke though.
He makes a joke,
Yeah.
but no one mentions it. Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. I said okay.
And then we've obviously got the students. There's what, like 20 of them in the class?
In the class, yeah, there's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
chunk. Oh,
I mean, there's way I have it up
Yeah.
on screen in front of me. There's like way more in like all the other classes, but we really only meet class 1.
I think
Yeah,
I
one
think
A.
they mentioned that it's only.
So
20.
we've got Deku, Bakugo, Uraraka, who's the floating girl.
she's adorable.
Ida, it's got
The engine
fucking
legs.
engines on his
He's
legs.
basically the Flash.
Yeah, Icy Hot.
Icy hot.
Icy Hot.
Icy hot. Yeah, that's Todoroki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirishima, who we talked about, he's hardening.
He's all about being manly.
Tsuyu, Frog Girl.
Frog girl.
Yeah, Momo, she
Oh,
creates
that's a
things.
great story. Is that when she told me that she was going to start watching Hero Academia soon, I just texted her. She's like, "Hope you like frogs."
So
Because Suyu is a fan favorite.
yeah, so Momo, who creates things out of her body. Minoru, who is a
You got to give us more than that. I don't recognize the name.
he's the Lecture Kid.
Oh, Mineta.
Yeah.
Oh, Mineta. Yeah, Mineta. Everybody's fucking punching bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kaminari, electric brain shortage.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Jiro is the girl with the
head jack
headphone
girl.
jack.
Yeah.
Tokayami, who I'm really looking forward to seeing more of, crow-headed.
Oh
Dark
yes.
Shadow.
Fucking
Yeah.
edgelord. Yeah.
Yeah, Mina with the pink skin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Aoyama with the naval laser, obviously. Shoji with the tentacle arms. Sero with the quirk tape dispensers.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
can eject
Yeah.
tape from his elbows.
Yeah. Ojiro, which is the dude with the prehensile tail.
Yeah, that's literally his whole power. Is he has a tail.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Koji Koda, who's the rock-like skin dude.
Yeah, his power is he can talk to animals.
Yeah. But he also has rock-like skin.
Yeah, they don't show that in the first season, but his
No.
power is that he can talk to animals.
Yeah.
And he's terrified of bugs.
And then there's obviously Toru, Invisible Girl.
Yeah.
And then there's also Sato, but we actually do not interact with Sato at all in season 1.
Which one is Sato?
He's got the sugar quirk.
Oh, yeah.
We
sugar,
don't interact with
Yeah, his power is that the more sugar he has in his bloodstream, the stronger he is.
But he is the only character in 1A that we do not interact with in season 1.
That is true, yeah.
At
we
all.
barely see him.
Nope. Yeah. I think because he kind of isn't like.
He's a background character
Yeah.
through and through, unfortunately.
And then the main event of this season is the USJ.
Oh, you mean Universal Studios Japan?
Shit.
They really hammered that joke home. Oh yeah, did you guys also like Apollo 13?
Wait, what?
Apollo 13. The teacher at the USJ.
Oh,
13.
yeah,
Oh,
Spaceman.
so-
She's
okay.
called 13, but her actual name is
Okay.
Apollo 13.
Okay, but they don't tell us that. All
Yeah.
we saw was 13.
Yeah, her actual name is Apollo 13.
Yes, I did like 13. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it is a woman. They do
Yes,
say that.
I figured it was.
Yeah,
Space
they
woman.
do say later on it's a woman.
Yeah. Which is why I was very, very confused when you said he when you were talking about 13 earlier.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's later on. They keep it kind of
Yeah.
ambiguous until later on. I think you see her without her helmet once.
Yeah, not yet though. So
No.
the USJ is the big event, which is, they go on this. There's supposed to be a training, and then Shigaraki shows up with the League of Villains, a ton of villains, and they all get separated because of Kurogiri, and then Aizawa gets the ever loving shit beaten out of him in every way possible. Oh god, the animation on that.
Yeah, gets his
Of
arms
course.
broken, gets his head smashed into the ground several times.
What got me was the elbow.
Oh yeah, that was pretty
The
bad.
glasses got me more. The goggles like being slammed into his orbital bones and then snapping.
Yeah.
Cause like I have had the experience of having something slam into my glasses and then slam into my face and cut me.
You know what I
and it
never
is
understood?
traumatizing.
You know what I didn't get is that, like, the guys... No, the Nomu has an exposed brain. Why didn't you just punch him in the head?
I don't think they could get to it.
I mean, if you can punch him in, like, the upper chest area, I mean, just go for the brain, man. I mean...
Look. This shonen has a lot of nice logical elements. There have to be
Yeah.
some elements of illogic.
I thought about the same thing when I was watching it, but then I decided it's an anime. Not gonna think about it too much.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
It
Yeah.
might not be a brain. It might just be skin.
No, it's a brain.
It's
It's
It looks like a brain.
Okay.
No, it's exposed brain. But yeah. And we get the Nomu fight with All Might, and holy fucking shit.
Pretty great fight.
Punching's not
Is
working.
that- is that-
I'm gonna punch it more and harder.
Is that where we get United States of Smash?
No.
No.
Damn.
No fucking... You will know when United States of Smash shows up, and it is one of the
Yes.
greatest moments I've ever seen in anime.
Okay.
He calls out all of his moves. Like,
Yeah,
It's
all of
like
his...
Detroit Smash.
Yeah, it's all different American states.
cities. Detroit is not a state.
Sorry. I'm getting mixed up because sometimes you use cities, sometimes you use states.
Yeah, because I think he says Texas Smash at one
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
but he also
No,
says
yeah.
Detroit Smash, so.
Delaware Smash.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's either different American city names or states.
Yep. So I guess now we can do Waifu Wars.
Why are you looking at me like I'm the one that brought it up earlier? I'm not. That was Lauren.
That's true. Waifu
Waifu
Wars.
Wars.
Waifu Wars. Waifu Wars. Package.
Oh shit. Just from season 1?
Just from
Yeah.
season 1.
Okay, then I'm probably gonna say Mina.
Okay. Cece,
I'm confused.
you gotta pick a waifu.
No.
Pick your favorite character.
Pick a character that
Or
you would date.
pick it your favorite
Un-
character or
under
the
the
character you think
presumption-
is the cutest.
Under the presumption that it is achievable for you to date any of these people, who would you pick?
Aizawa?
Okay.
Knick-knack?
Toru, she steals every scene she's in.
Vorn?
Frog Girl. Her personality's good.
Tsuyu.
Tsuyu.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Agreed.
you need to figure out names. Aizawa!
Yeah, I saw that coming a fucking mile away.
To be fair, it
you have
will
been
change.
gushing over him before you even watched the series.
To be fair, it will change.
Will it?
Yes. Because Aizawa
Interesting.
is not my overall waifu. for
Oh
the
no! Wait,
series.
I think I know who you're gonna
yeah.
pick in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh really?
those two.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of those two is definitely who you're
Yeah.
gonna pick. You got. She has figures of them behind her on her desk.
I got
and
figures.
we're gesturing to them because the viewer can't see what we're doing.
Okay, on this note, this is our transitional sentence into moving into free talk, but I got figures for this show before I had read it or watched it.
Mhm.
Go Beyond, plus Ultra,
my.
everyone.